I'm going to be reading Water Crystal Healing, Music and Images to Restore Well-Being by Dr. Masaru Emoto. What if there were no music at all in this world? Can you imagine such a development? No music, no concerts, no records, no karaoke, no CDs, no songs to sing, no music programs on the radio or television. It's difficult to even imagine. Without music, the world would be a boring place. Just thinking about such a world makes me depressed and stressed. Music has become such an integral part of our daily life that we can't live without it. What is music? In Japanese, we write the word music as enjoyment of sounds. What is sound? A sound invariably occurs wherever there is a vibration. So we could say that a sound is a vibration. Although humans only hear sounds generated by vibrations between 15 hertz and 20,000 hertz, which are called audible sound, all vibrations emit sound. What then is a vibration? It is energy itself, moving through matter. As waves of energy disturb particles of matter, the particles move like floating balls on water, going up and down with the wave pattern. Music, then, is an art form through which we experience vibrations, which is actually energy itself. The symphony inside of our body. Our body is composed of upwards of 100 trillion cells. Surprisingly, the vibration of each cell is slightly different from those of other cells. This means that each cell is generating a slightly different sound. With so many cells in our body, if we could use a high-quality microphone to collect all of these sounds, we would hear a great symphony that is constantly being played inside of our bodies. In my research of vibrations within the body, I have found that the origin of any disease is a disturbance in the frequencies within each cell. We could say that the more harmonious and the more beautiful our body symphony is, the healthier both our body and mind should become. Conversely, when discordant vibrations increase, our body and mind will turn negative, and finally a disease will become manifest. For this reason, great doctors of the good old days were able to find abnormalities in the body of a patient with only the help of a stethoscope. Controlling a vibration with another vibration. It is not difficult to restore a distorted sound to its natural normal state. One can simply measure the waveform of the existing sound, shift its phase 90 degrees, that is curving down where the original is curving up, and then play it alongside the original sound. The distorted sound will be canceled out and no sound will be heard. This technology has already been applied to reduce the noise generated from the engine of a car. The reason that we need music resides in this principle. The stresses of modern society distort the vibrations of the cells in our bodies. To assist these distorted vibrations in returning to normal, we choose music, vibrations, with the right rhythm, tempo, tone, and melody to cancel out the distortion. For this reason, music has been our companion since the dawn of human history, in many different forms, and it continues to give us healing effects. Seeing music. Music is meant to be heard, but using the technique of water crystal photography that I've developed years ago, it is possible to see music. It works in the following manner. A water crystal is a geometrical design shaped by a vibration, and a sound is a vibration. So if you listen to a piece of music and look at the water crystal created by the vibration of that music simultaneously, you can see the vibrational pattern of the music in the crystal and absorb all the vibrations into your body through your eyes and ears. Music therapy. Organs and disease have measurable halo, a subtle form of energy that is easily transmitted and present in all things. In English, halo translates as wave, motion, or vibration. In the near future, as research progresses, The halo associated with all organs and diseases will become clear and widely understood. Then it will become possible to compose music that has vibrations and rhythm corresponding to a certain organ or disease. For example, a piece of music that can cancel the halo of liver cancer. I imagine that at some time in the future, the technology to help people absorb beneficial vibrations will be widely adopted. When that day comes, a water crystal representation of a piece of music will be placed on the music's packaging, and listeners will be able to enjoy music that is composed of the vibrations that are most beneficial to them. They will select music with the water crystal image that they are most attracted to at that moment, and will receive healing effects from seeing as well as hearing the vibration. While enjoying the music, listeners can not only reduce their diseases, but also prevent them. The music series. Until such a day arrives, I've collected these pieces of classical music, which my research has shown to produce beautiful crystals that suggest healing and well-being. I'd like to describe the process of this research. We start with the premise that water has an ability to memorize various kinds of information. Because music is an assemblage of vibrations, it can be said that the difference in separate pieces of music is the difference in vibration. Water crystal photography is a technique that can easily express the quality of each piece of music with a visual image. The water crystal photographs in this collection of music were taken after each piece of music contained in the CD was played to distilled water. Here's a brief explanation of how we do this. First, we place each piece of music with a set of speakers to a vial filled with distilled water. We place about 1 milliliter of water sample into each petri dish. We do this with 50 dishes for each water sample. We freeze the water contained in the 50 petri dishes at a temperature of -25 to -30 degrees centigrade. Illuminating the frozen ice on each petri dish under a light microscope, we observe each water crystal and take sequence photographs with a magnification of 100x to 200x. These observations and photographs are made inside a large cold room at -5 degrees centigrade. It is the tip of the frozen and expanded ice that produces a water crystal. The ice block that is taken out of the freezer melts gradually because of the temperature difference and the light from the microscope. At this moment, the water crystal at the tip of the ice block shows the expression of water that has resonated with each beautiful piece of music. The technique of water crystal photography can capture this moment as a picture. We continue to take beautiful images that complement each selection of excellent music we test. But that is not all. The next step is to measure the halo contained in a water crystal photograph. Let me explain how I came to measure the halo of photographs. For over 15 years, I've successfully used halo measuring devices called a magnetic resonance analyzer, or an MRA. I use this to measure the characteristics of halo and adjust the balance of the human energy field. To do a halo measurement on a person, the client places his or her palm on the MRA's measuring plate. I have found that if a client cannot be there in person, a photograph of the client works equally well in getting halo measurements. Once the halo has been accessed, we can transfer to water a halo that counteracts any negative halo generated with the MRA. This is possible because water can memorize halo, which is vibration. The client then drinks the halo water, which corrects the disturbance in his or her energy balance. It activates immunity and it facilitates self-healing power. Now let's return to music. When we began to measure the halo of a piece of music, we found it difficult to do so directly because music has no visible form. However, it became possible to measure the halo of music by measuring the halo of the water crystal photographs of water that was expressed to the piece of music. By combining the water crystal photography and halo measuring techniques, the healing effects of music become very clear and concrete. My associates and I exposed water to pieces of music, observed the resulting water crystals, and took photographs. At the same time, we measured characteristics of the halo of each photograph with the MRA. Based on the halo data, we could infer the potential healing effects of each piece of music in terms of its halo effect. In our experiments, we used timeless pieces of music that have resonated well with people for many years. Accompanying the photographs is a brief history of each musical selection and its composer so that you can connect with the emotions and halo of the original composer while you fully enjoy the music. To use this book and CD, please read each piece's history and halo qualities first, and then enjoy both the lovely music and the corresponding beautiful water crystal photographs. As you do so, visualize each organ in your body as described in the commentary with great appreciation for that organ. The concentration of consciousness created by visualizing each organ and the wonderful beneficial synthesis between seeing and hearing can impart healing effects unlike any you've previously experienced. The first piece that we will hear is called the Moldau. It's conducted by Antoni Witt of the Polish National Radio Symphony Orchestra, Bedrich Smetana. And about this piece, there are 6 connected parts that make up Smetana's symphonic poem, My Blast, or Images of Homeland. Vyasarad, the Moldau, Sarka, from Bohemia's meadows and forests, Tabor and Blanik. In them, Bedrich Smetana attempts to convey in musical form the essence of the Czech nation. The Moldau is the best known of all parts that make up Images of Homeland. According to a commentary by the composer, the Moldau River, Vltava in Czech, has its headwaters in 2 separate sources. These tributaries then join to form a single river that flows through meadows and forests. Along the banks of the Moldau, people can be seen holding festivals or engaging in hunting. When evenings arrive, the composers say, the moon comes out and water nymphs start to dance around. The river then passes through one of its rapids, and as the mighty movement of water takes a more leisurely pace, it enters Prague, with the ancient castle Vyasarad coming into view. In the beginning of the piece, the flute and clarinet represent the 2 sources of the river. Then the first violin and the oboe start to play softly, beautifully conveying the theme of the Moldau. This is a theme that finds ways to penetrate your soul, as the Moldau is about to flow into Prague. When the old Vyasarad castle can be seen, the theme of the first part is played again on the woodwinds. The Moldau then carries out its majestic yet calm entry into Prague, the Czech capital. Smetana started work on the 6 parts of this symphonic poem, Images of Homeland, in 1874, the year that he lost his hearing. The composition reaches its final form in 1879, and the premiere performance of all 6 parts was held in Prague on November the 5th, 1882. The annual festival Prague Spring starts on the date of Bedrich Smetana's death, May the 12th, and without exception, the Czech Philharmonic performs all 6 parts of Images of Homeland, Smetana's legacy to his beloved home. The Moldau contains halo that can cancel the halo of irritability. At the same time, it resonates with and thus enhances the halo of the lymphatic system. Based on these results, My research suggests that by listening to this piece of music, you can alleviate irritability and vitalize lymphatic tissues in the body. When you feel irritable, your body is giving you a sign that you need calmness and peace of mind. By treating yourself more tenderly, your mind will become clearer. Track 2 is The Blue Danube by Johann Strauss II. Johann Strauss I, known as the father of Viennese waltzes, was the father of Johann Strauss II, who composed an immense number of Viennese waltzes and polkas. The popularity and fame of Johann Strauss II have spread throughout the world. The Blue Danube, which Strauss wrote at the age of 41, and Tales from the Vienna Woods are two of the most popular waltzes ever written. In 1866, when Strauss wrote The Blue Danube, continental Europe was dominated by two major powers, France under the rule of Napoleon III and the Austrian Empire under the Habsburg Emperor Franz Joseph I. However, in 1866, Austria found itself engaged in a war against Persia, which was then in the process of creating a new German federation. When Italy attacked Austria from its rear, Austria suffered a major disadvantage and went down in defeat. In July of 1866, the disastrous Battle of Königgrätz took place between the Austrian and Persian armies, with the Austrian army losing approximately 100,000 of its 250,000 soldiers. Vienna was filled with masses of wounded troops, and the victorious Persian flag could be seen flying in Vienna. Finally, the Persians departed, and Austria found itself like an orphan country and had to relinquish control to the Italian city of Venice. The Austrians could still see the former glory of Vienna and folded their combination of sadness and stress into a dark mood as they attempted to welcome the spring of 1867. But Vienna, surrounded as it is by the glories of nature, witnessed a lively rebirth of happiness. Strauss turned his eye to the boundless, unchanging nature around him. Putting aside the uproar and confusion of the world, he turned to the fast-flowing Danube River to capture the soul of Vienna. A poem written by Carl Isidor Beck. Fair lady, enduring the world's pains, you who bask in dignity and youthfulness are the very foundation of our soul that is to be found on the shores of the Danube. On the shores of the beautiful blue Danube, O nightingale, we hear your song. On the shores of the Danube, moving along, the beautiful blue Danube. Strauss employed this poem's final line to name his waltz. The composition originally included a song text by Joseph Wheel, and Strauss then adapted it to a purely orchestral version. The composer himself conducted the well-received premiere performance of the orchestral waltz in the 1867 Paris Exposition. After that success, Austria became the second home of a well-loved waltz, and the Blue Danube has become a point of special pride for the Austrian people. Track 3, Waves of the Danube. Iosif Ivanovici. Composer Iosif Ivanovici in 1878 was the head conductor of the martial music selection of the newly formed country of Romania. He died in Bucharest on September 16, 1902, but little else is known about him. The score of Waves of the Danube is thought to have been written in 1880, and during this period, Romania was under the sway of French culture. By extension, Romanian waltz composers were probably influenced by Emile Waldteufel, the king of the French waltz. What makes Ivanovici's waltzes stand out is his unique ability to combine a major key and a minor key in the same piece. From olden time, waltzes in a minor key were especially popular as a means to elicit a mood of sadness. Such a mood is doubtlessly brought on when one views the last rays of a setting sun reflected off the waters of a fast, darkening Danube. In the United States, Ivanovici's Wave of the Danube achieved great popularity after lyrics were written for the melody, and the piece became known as the anniversary song. Listening to Waves of the Danube will help you express your emotions honestly and without any suppression. When your heart is open, you help to clear any stagnation in your blood flow and make your cells more vibrant and active than ever before. Besides suppression, other kinds of emotional halos that cause the flow of water or blood inside your body to stagnate include stubbornness, greed, and excess fear.